Madhura Gauravani Pracharine Namaste, Narasimhaya. Yes, it is. That's all right. No, we did that yesterday. We read it. Not the purple one, but the translation.
Om Yatmarandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitanena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Vishram Sthapitamena Sutare Swayam Bhaktavyam Tata Visvapadapikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Gurupadakamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakujakam Sahagana Lokanathan Vipantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Padijana Santam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vipansha Hey Krishna Guna Sindhu Tina Bando Jagatate Ome Shikopika Kanta Radha Kanta Murte Bhaktikancha Golangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Shrivanu Sute Devi Paramani Hari Priye Mancha Kabudu Vishcha Vipasi Devicha Deitana Bhavabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 1. Observing the armies of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, chapter 36. Mahapramivashrayat Asman Hatvaitan Arpatayana Tasman Mahamayam Artharashtra Salandavam Vajanami Katham Hadva Sumina Shamadva. Translation: sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors, therefore it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy with our own kinsmen? 37-38. Vidyapi etena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasaha kulakshaya vritam dosham mitratrohe chapapikam katham na gyeyam asmavi apadasmani varthum kulakshaya vritam dosham prapashyat bir janardana. O Janardana, although these men, overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, with knowledge of the sin, engage in these acts? Text 39. Kulakshare pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharmenashte kulam kritsnam dharmo vibhavadyata. With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in a religious practice. Text 40. Dharma bhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya Shrishu dushtasu varshneya jai devarna sankaraha. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. 41. Sankaro Marakayaiva Kulakranam Kulasya Patantu Pitaro Yesham Lupta Pindodaka Kriyaha. When there is an increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created both for the family and for those who destroyed the family tradition. In such corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water to the ancestors. 42. Dosharitai kulajnanam varna sankarakharakahai utsakrite jatitarma kulatarnascha Shashvataha. Due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of family tradition, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. 43. Utsanakula dharmanam manusyanam janardana narakenya dhammaso bhavati yadushushramam. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those who destroy family traditions dwell always in hell. 44. Aho padamahat papam kartum yalasithavayam yadraji sukalopena tum sujana uditaha. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. 45. Yadima pratikaram ashashtam shastrapanaya tartarashkaraneham yus. I would consider it better for the sons of Dhritarashtra to kill me unarmed and unresisting rather than fight with them. 646. Jai Uvacha Ivam Utvajana Samke Ratopasta Upavishat Visrija Sashanam Chapam Shoka Samdigna Manasaha. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So that finishes chapter 1. We'll go back to text 36. We'll read the translation again in purport. ISKCON Rupanuga Vedic College. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Alright, now looking at the purport. Prabhupada, he describes the 6 aggressors that can be killed. What are they?
Someone who attacks you with a stick.
That's good. I think you're right. One attacks with a weapon and tries to kill. Somebody who tries to steal your wife, somebody who encroaches upon your property, somebody who poisons you, somebody who tries to, I think, burn your house or do like arsonic. What's the word?
Arsenic?
Is that it? Arson. Yeah. Okay, let's cheat now. One who attacks with deadly weapons, as Bhakti Aiden said, he might be a sharp stick. And one who plunders riches. So one who gives poison, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another land, and one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. So the killing of aggressors is quite befitting for an ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person.
So, one real quick point is that this is what Srila Prabhupada is describing according to Vedic injunctions, according to the rules of the scriptures, that if these aggressors attack, then we can defend ourselves and not accrue karma. But still, we may have to deal with the reactions within the confines of the modern law. Whereas somebody may attack me, and because I defend myself in an improper way according to the modern law, then I may be punished and put in jail. But according in the eyes of God, then if you're protecting yourself from one of these 6 things, then you will not be affected by the reactions of the sins. But we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam many stories of devotees who have given up this propensity to defend and just simply depending on the mercy of the Lord, seeing that whatever comes is the Lord's mercy. We see Lord Rishabhadev, Jadabharat, Avadut Brahmana, many others, but those are the prominent ones that come to my mind, where people would spit on them, steal from them, pass water on them, steal their food. and they wouldn't fight at all. They just accepted, okay, this is the Lord's mercy, and let me tolerate and just focus on getting out of this hellish place of the material world. So we have to see all angles, not just see one. But Arjuna specifically was a Kshatriya, and that's just what Srila Prabhupada is going to continue talking about. So let's read. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting for an ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Ram was so saintly that people were anxious to live in his kingdom. Rama Rajya. But Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Ram because he kidnapped Ram's wife, Sita. But Lord Ram gave him sufficient lessons, unparalleled in the history of the world. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressors, namely his own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons, etc., because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. So Prabhupada's pointing out that, in essence, Arjuna had every right to defend himself in this battle, to take up his bow and fight with full might, full strength. Because it says, one who kidnaps a wife. So we hear of the disrobing of Draupadi. One who sets fire to the house. There's the house of Lak was purposely designed to kill the Pandavas where they set it ablaze. One who attacks with deadly weapons. Here, it's the other army taking up weapons, ready to fight. Poison giving. They poisoned Arjuna's brother, Bhima, by giving him poisoned food, which, as we heard a couple nights ago, a name for him is what? Yes, what does that mean? Wolf belly? That's the actual translation? Well, his wolf belly could take the poison, so he wasn't affected. And one who occupies another's land, which they unrightfully took the claim of this kingdom. So you could see that they essentially broke all these principles. So Arjuna had every right to fully engage in this battle. And he's a kshatriya, so that's his duty. Not that he takes up a saintly position, like I just said, like Jadabharat and these others. But we may not be a kshatriya, so we might not have to rise to that certain occasion, like Arjuna. Yeah.
I'm reading in the Chaitanya Ramananda, right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they're talking about Varnashram. So, what I wanted to say was, what I wanted to ask was, I can't remember what I wanted to ask. Sorry. You were saying something about Kshatriyas, right? What were you saying about Kshatriyas?
Few things. I was saying that Arjuna is a kshatriya and he has this duty to fight, and also he has every right to defend himself because the Kauravas, they broke all these different principles, whereas we might not be kshatriya to have to act in the same way as Arjuna did.
So that's what I want to do this. So in Varnashram, it says that you have to act according to your duty. But we don't have any people in modern society who are fit to be brahmanas or kshatriyas or even vaishyas. Everyone's is mostly Shudra, Lord Shudra. So, what is the best way to engage these people without wow, engage them so that they know how to act, but also not, I don't know, like, not, so that they don't engage them.
Krishna says that in the minds of those who are too attached to enjoyment and opulence, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. He also says not to disturb such persons who are too attached, better to engage them in service, like to connect them to Krishna somehow, some way. So, point is, these persons who aren't inclined to take up full-on self-realization, Krishna consciousness, then we can't just rebuke them and blast them and, you're a sinner, you're eating meat, what's wrong? But better to find some way to connect them to Krishna in like a pleasing way. And ultimately, in the Bhagavatam, it says, Atha pumbir dvija shreshta varna shrama vibhagashaha svanushtitashta dharmasya samsiri haritoshanam. The perfection, anyone can achieve perfection from any place they are in varnashram, whatever role they have, as long as they take to pleasing the Lord. Similarly, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that even men of lower intelligence, women, Shudras, they can all attain perfection from their own position just by rendering devotional service. So the devotee is expert at finding a way to encourage the conditioned souls to take to devotional service to whatever capacity that they can. So if we meet somebody on the streets and they're really interested, and then they take a book, so we try to give them the book, encourage them to read it. Other people, they don't want to do anything with Krishna. So at least we're chanting the holy names. We have them hear the holy names. Say, I visit home and visit my family, and they're friendly and nice to me because it's me, but they're not so interested in what I'm doing. Maybe I show them, a movie about Prabhupada or something nice that shows them, oh wow, there actually is some nice tradition and culture here, or just simply give them prasadam. So the devotee becomes expert at finding a way to connect somebody where they're at. And I've seen senior devotees meet newcomers, and a very common question is, so what do you do for work, for a living? Because then they have certain traits and skills, and we may have a certain project that we're doing that we could use them for. And then that's an excuse for them to come and do devotional service, which is beneficial. But more beneficial than just coming and doing some service is to associate with the devotees. So, devotee is very expert at finding ways and tricks to get people an opportunity to be exposed to Krishna more than they would naturally on their own. And ultimately, that's what's happened to us somehow or other. Like Srila Prabhupada's mercy, the mercy of other devotees, they've given us opportunities to be more exposed to Krishna. So we can observe some devotees that may be around us, how they do this, and learn a lot from them and inquire. But generally speaking, people aren't so philosophically inclined. And we hear in the days of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was appearing in Navadvip Dham, which was considered the seat of learning in India at that time. Many, many scholars, many learned people would come there for studying grammar, other fields. And we hear the pastime of the Digvijay coming to Navadvip. You've heard of the Digvijay? Digvijay means Digvijay means person who's conquering every direction. He was a scholarly person, and he was traveling all around India in all directions, trying to conquer everybody in debate or like a scholarly challenge. And he came to Navadvip and he challenged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit. And Nimai, Lord Chaitanya challenged him to recite a poem about Mother Ganga, 100 verses. And then he just started rifling off all these like really nice poetic Sanskrit verses. And then he said the whole thing, and then he's puffed up thinking like nobody can say this like me. And then Lord Chaitanya, like after he was done, exposed to him like, oh yeah, in line 55 you said this and that, it's actually contradicting. And the guy was so bewildered that somebody could even like remember what he said so many lines ago. So Lord Chaitanya matched his scholarship, his intelligence, and bested him. And this person became bewildered. But my point is, in those days, people valued true knowledge and they would debate each other. And if I were to enter into a debate with you and you defeat me, you know what that means? It's like, okay, I surrender to you. You're my guru. You're better than me. You know, you have more knowledge than me. Therefore, I should be humble and I should learn from you. But nowadays, nobody wants to accept that, so we don't even put it on the table. We don't put it on the line. We say, oh, this guy thinks he's better than me. I'll knock him out. So we're not even honest enough, to deal with that because we're covered by our pride. So to have this real openness in that way is very nice. But this Digvijay, he was traveling around everywhere, and Lord Chaitanya beated him. Why did I bring that up again? I don't even know. Yeah, we were talking about that, but I forgot the connection. But it's a nice point. Somehow it was connected. So, does anybody have anything else? If not, we'll just keep reading and reading and reading. Okay. Because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not, therefore, consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms and pleasures derived therefrom are not permanent. So why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjuna's addressing of Krishna as Madhava, or the husband of goddess of fortune, is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not have to induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. So this is Arjuna's dilemma. Why fight? Because if I win, it's like everything's temporary and there's just going to be problems. All I see is problems the whole way through. And then he brings up his doubts to Krishna and bears all before Krishna, which we hear in chapter 2, which he eventually submits himself before Krishna as a disciple before a guru, which is a very, very nice shloka, and that's the kind of the turning point of the Bhagavad Gita, where Srila Prabhupada points out that before that, up until that point, it's merely discussion between friends. But then as Arjuna submits himself before Krishna, then Krishna takes the role of the spiritual master. And then the conversations between the disciple and the spiritual master are very serious, because they're about very serious things, very serious inquiry and reciprocation from the disciple in a submissive mood, and the spiritual master taking a role of being superior. Whereas the spiritual master, the guru, may exhibit his mercy and still, have like a friendly relationship, but still always the disciple takes a submissive role and the guru takes superior role. So Arjuna is bewildered and he doesn't know what to do. And what Prabhupada just pointed out in the purport was really nice, because he said he didn't therefore consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. So we can get caught up in these same dilemmas of, what's the point of doing anything? We're working so hard, we're not getting any result. We see all the difficulties, all the problems. But we have to put Krishna in the center, and we work to put Krishna in the center. Then Krishna becomes pleased, and when Krishna becomes pleased, then naturally we derive pleasure also. So devotional service is really shifting from acting in a way to bring ourselves pleasure and shifting to a way to bring Krishna pleasure. And the way to bring Krishna pleasure is going through the medium of the spiritual master. This is the sure shot way. Okay, we'll read text 37 and 38. O Janardana, although these men, overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, with knowledge of the sin, engage in these acts? Purport. A kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight because he was challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight. The obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. About what? The last two sentences? Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good. As far as I know, effect is like cause and effect with the A is like dealing with like feelings. Like if you opened up the window right now and I got a breeze and I got chilly, I got affected with a A by the cold. But by you opening the window, then it had a cold effect. The cold effect affected me. You understand? Effect with the E and affect with the A. There's like cause and effect. I do this action and then there's a certain effect with the E. That effect will affect somebody or something with the A. Yeah. And that effect has a certain effect on certain. It's more technical than that. I'm giving a simple example, but in one sense, yeah, you're right. It's more impersonal, but both have their places to describe certain things. But this is just grammar. Anyways, what I was thinking of when we read this purport, Prabhupada's talking about a kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Recently, we were hearing in the Krishna book about this very thing. Lord Balaram got challenged to a gambling match by Rukmi. Yes. What were they gambling? What were they playing? Chess, yes. And Balaram was said not to be such a good chess player. And they were gambling, and they had a gambling match. I think it was for like 100 gold coins, and Balaram lost. So then he said, okay, 1,000. And then he lost again, and then he upped the ante again, and he lost. And then they were making fun of him, and he was getting angry, and then he upped the ante again. And then he won that time. But then Rukmini said, no, he didn't win. He cheated. And in this way, he pointed out some things which he was just trying to avoid losing and make Balaram look bad. So then they gambled one more time, and Rukmini did the same thing and tried to say Balaram cheated. So then Balaram smacked him over the head with his club and killed him dead right there. So Krishna and Balaram, they're playing the parts of these kshatriyas in Dwarka, Dwarka. And similarly, Arjuna is a kshatriya, so he's not supposed to refuse any kind of battle or gamble, especially Arjuna in this connection. A kshatriya is also not supposed to refuse a woman when approached who's seeking shelter. And this happened to Arjuna, and he refused her. Who was that woman? Urvashi, yes. And then she cursed him because she got rejected by him. Because he didn't want to accept her, because he viewed her as his mother, because she was an associate of Indra, his father. So then she cursed him, and what happened? He became a eunuch for a whole year. You know what a eunuch is? It's like you're not really a man and you're not really a woman. You can use your imagination. But so he got cursed in this way, and when the Pandavas were in exile, he was living in such a state. But this came from this curse because he refused this woman. But anyways, that's just a little backstory of how kshatriyas are. They have a certain honor and prestige, and they're not supposed to back down. They're always supposed to take up the challenge, take up the fight, take up the gambling match. And this was a big part of the whole Mahabharata, where the Kauravas, they challenged Maharaj Yudhishthir to a gambling match. Big gambling match, and they were rolling dice. And Yudhishthir and the Pandavas got cheated because the person rolling the dice for Duryodhana, Shakuni, he had this magical dice and he was cheating. But because the whole Kshatriya order is to not refuse a gambling match, to not refuse a fight, to not refuse a challenge, because then you feel like your pride is defeated, your honor is defeated, they had to accept it. And they got cheated, but because Yudhishthir, he's the highest in the sense of Dharma, adhering to Dharmic principles at all times and never deviating, then whatever curse, whatever challenge comes just becomes another stepping stone to glorify the Lord more and more. So they got cheated, they got wrong so many times, but they overcame all of this by the Lord's grace, and it's just more merit because the Lord is supremely worshipable and supremely glorifiable. But the Supreme Lord, who is supremely glorifiable, likes to glorify his devotees even more. So his devotees who adhere to his principles, to hold steadfast to his lotus feet, the Lord likes to put them in a position where they actually get glorified. But the devotees don't like to take any glorification, and they like to glorify the Lord. So then the Lord naturally wants to glorify his devotees more and more. So it's a nice relationship because Krishna's Bhaktavatsalya means he's the well-wisher of his devotees, the protector of his devotees. So Arjuna could see the evil in the other side, and he's so intelligent and saintly that he's even thinking that they might not even be aware of like the evil atrocities that they're doing, that they're just completely captivated by lust and greed. And what's the point of me even fighting with them? Because if I fight with them, then I'll get brought down to their level. This is one of his doubts. And then he brings up these other doubts. He says, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligious practice. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. When there is increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. In corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water to the ancestors. So he's essentially saying that because these people aren't aware of their heinous activities, that will lead to destruction of their dynasty, and then the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and then the whole family becomes polluted, then womanhood becomes degraded. When womanhood is degraded, then there's not healthy children and families being produced, and then when that happens, the whole world goes to hell, essentially. Another one of his doubts, that if I engage in this activity, it's going to create this whole negative chain reaction. You have something?
I was just wondering, why is it that people don't do the same? Like especially for ourselves. Me personally, I had a situation where somebody provoked me really grossly, and I ended up retaliating in such a way that it didn't make me look foolish, it just made me look intolerant. Basically, I got really upset and yelled at the guy. And but like, if I were thinking like Arjuna, and I was thinking, I don't want to climb this person's over, then I probably would have come out better, out the other side, a better person. But I'm just wondering why we don't do this and how we can start to do this practically every day.
Do what specifically?
Not stoop to someone's level who's trying to bring us down.
It's a good question. It's just saying that misery loves company. So oftentimes people are in a bad state of consciousness and they interact with the world and all that is in a certain way. And we may intermingle or cross paths with such persons, and somebody may be angry, and by interacting with them, it could affect us and also make us angry or sad or these things also. But we need to rise above this, and we need to rise above this with spiritual strength. We need to rise above with spiritual intelligence. And in this way, always be compassionate and merciful to those who are in such horrible situations, We may meet somebody and somebody may assault me when we're on like Harinam or something, for instance, and I could get angry and upset and I want to retaliate and I want to get this guy. But no, a devotee sees that, oh, I'm actually offensive and this is Krishna sending me something. He's sending me a lesson. Krishna says he's in the hearts directing the wanderings of all living entities. So therefore Krishna's directing this person, and this person's acting according to his karma to carry out a certain action to teach me a lesson for my offensive nature. So devotee, we shouldn't try to retaliate or get angry. We should try to see it as the Lord's mercy. And this is what's taught throughout the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotees get cursed. Devotees find themselves in horrible situations, like Prahlad Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj. So many actually. And in Chichiketu, instead of trying to rectify the problem, oh no, I screwed up, I did horribly. It's like, okay, this is the Lord's mercy, and the devotee thinks I deserve much worse than this, actually. The Lord's very merciful and has given me just a little bit of what I'm due. So how merciful He is, let me continue on with my devotional service, because that's actually what will purify me. That's what's needed. So if we really hold on to devotional service and see it in that way, then we can act without being affected by all the negativity or anger or lust, things that are in our surroundings. Otherwise, without devotional service, what? We walk outside just like not even a block away, and immediately we're contaminated with all these things going on in the atmosphere. Certain smells in the air, certain sounds in the air, certain things we see, how people are dressed, how they're walking, how they're talking, how they're eating. All these things are contaminating, very polluting actually. So we should never just walk around just for the sake of walking around, but you walk around with an eye for service. How can I engage whatever Krishna has brought within my field in his service? There's a nice bench. Okay, let me sit on the bench and chant japa. Okay, there's a flower bush. Let me get a flower and offer to Krishna. Fine. There's a person. Oh, let me try to give a book to that person, or just be friendly to that person so they, think the devotees are nice. Just shift in consciousness to see how to connect the world to Krishna. Then the devotee is never affected by the modes of nature, because ultimately that's what we're talking about. So I hope that's insightful. Is there any other comments? Questions? Oh. I thought he had something there for a second. Give up? Give up? Okay, so this is Arjuna's doubt, his dilemma. He sees that with this destruction of this battle, he sees, he just sees everything bad, all bad. I do this and all these bad things are going to happen, so what's the point of even doing it at all? So oftentimes we may find ourselves in this situation in life where we're depressed and we're just like, I just don't want to do it today. I don't want to go through the struggle. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do the same things. What's the point of it all? Something happened? It came back to you? Yeah.
So, like flipping a coin, like kind of like making a decision musically and keeping your mind happy. Is that considered gambling?
That's a nice point. So the four regulative principles can be considered grossly. So no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. And in one sense, that means, okay, no going to the marijuana dispensary, no going to the casino, no going to the butcher shop, and no going to a brothel, you could say. Or in this case, Kali Yuga, on our phone, to websites we shouldn't visit. No going to these things. But subtly, also, these four regulative principles are there and should be observed. So it's said about sex. Sex is not just the gross act of having this bodily pleasure and sensation, but there's like 6 stages in sex that leads up to that, which is thinking of women, talking with women, flirting with them in a solitary place, different things that build up to that. So similarly, intoxication can be in the same category of doing different things, trying to get intoxicated or trying to get inebriated in a certain way, not being sober and straight and fixed in what we're doing. Eating meat, as Krishna Prabhu often points out, is compassion. How can we actually be compassionate if one's eating meat? So not just not eating meat, but we should strive to be compassionate for all living entities, for all of Krishna's creation. And gambling, as in the question, can be said to not following the dictates of scriptures. So yes, if we're in doubt and we don't have sufficient knowledge of the scripture and we're making, like serious life decisions, not like, okay, I don't know what to eat today. And like, kitchery or oatmeal, ladus, I don't know. Not like that, but it's like, okay, what should I do? Should I stay in the ashram? Should I get married? Should I live here? Should I live there? Should I go home? Should I chant? Should I not chant? Should I get a job? Serious questions that may be burdening us. Then yeah, we should apply scriptural knowledge to our life. And if we do, or even if we don't have sufficient scriptural knowledge, then we should ask advice from senior devotees who are more experienced than us, or especially the spiritual master, if he's accessible. But sometimes devotees have spiritual masters who aren't so accessible. They have many, many disciples. They're traveling around the world. So it's best to find senior devotees that we take shelter of, that we know and they know us, and we trust them, that they're not trying to cheat us. They're just trying to offer good advice to us for our benefit. And we can ask questions, and that doesn't mean that I ask this person a question and like, okay, whatever he says, that's the complete end of it all. I have to do exactly no. But it's humbling to ask questions and put ourselves out there, and then be open to all of the different opinions and advice that's given. And then we can make a more healthy decision. So then that's directly opposed to gambling. That's the point. We're actually using our intelligence to discriminate rather than just acting on our own whims. And this is what Krishna says in chapter 16. He says, Shastra vidam uchuja vartate kama kadata. He says, one who disregards the scripture, vartate kama kadata. He follows the path of his own lusty ways. Then, na siddham, na sukham, na param gatim. No perfection, no happiness, no reaching the supreme destination. So our compass in life should be Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Not, I don't know what to do. Let's which way is the wind blowing today? There may be a time and place for these things, there may be. But I'm saying the foundation of our life, has to be the compass of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Fortunately, when we wake up, we put on the same clothes every day. So it's not like, all right, what do I need to wear today? I don't know what to do. Some people get caught up in all these things, and it creates all this dysfunction. So we try to simplify things to make it more and more simple in our approach, that we just abide by scripture and follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and that's what life is about. So that makes sense? All right. Thank you, everybody, for hearing. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Gaura ki jai. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindavivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.